Hello everyone, this is Bentley, and today we're going to go over a few highlights from the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society's Home Show. Before we do that, let me explain what the Home Show is and why I think it's a really awesome thing for clubs to do, and if your club's not doing something like this, you should totally try and get this event going. So the basics are this. Every year, you have the members are given an opportunity to volunteer, and you're given several months ahead of time to show off a tank, kind of enter a very friendly competition. This is really like competition is not accurate, but we do give away prizes. However, every person who is a participant in the home show gets kind of a goodie bag. And then there's a couple bigger prizes for some like the top tanks based on the judges, or maybe the chairperson who's in charge of organizing everything gets his own pick, the things like that. This is what our club does. So the whole concept is that you'll have a team of 3 judges who are also volunteers from the club. They're other members in the club. And then you'll usually have, you probably have a photographer or something going around if you're going to create a video of it like we do. And then you'll have a chairperson who organizes all this stuff. And you might have a couple extra people. We do. There's 3 kind of like board members. There's the videographer, the photographer and newsletter writer, and then our president happened to be the one who was the chair of the entire event this term. And then there's 3 volunteer judges. I was one of those judges. So I have some pictures and some film of a bunch of the tanks that I really liked. And there are some that I didn't get to capture either because there's just so much glare you can't see anything. And these are in people's homes. It totally makes sense. And you don't see that glare with an eye, but you will with a camera. But why this is really cool and important is we have a meeting, and instead of having a speaker or something like that, we show the video. And you could show pictures if you don't necessarily have a videographer doing things for your club. But, if you're doing pictures or a newsletter writer of some form, you could put together a PowerPoint with pictures. This gives us all our members an opportunity to kind of get to know the other members and what they like to keep at home, or what plants they like, what fish they like. And some even have not freshwater stuff, which is kind of neat. So it's this kind of cool, relaxed thing where it's more about enjoying what everyone in your club is keeping, and getting to know some of the other members that you might not otherwise know, or sit down and have a long conversation with, or maybe have that opportunity to go see their tanks. This brings their tanks right to the club, and it's very fun. It's purely volunteer, which is what makes it awesome. It's 2 kind of grueling days of driving around for the judges, but in the end, it's totally worth it. So let's go ahead and jump into the video of the highlights. I'm doing no voiceovers here, but what I'd like you guys to do is I've numbered every tank that I have in the highlights, and I want you guys to tell me down in the comments below which one you think is the best of all the tanks shown. Maybe give me your top 3. How about top 3? Does that sound good? Top 1 if you want to, but top 3 would be awesome. And then if you want to tell me why, tell me why. So let's jump into that video and check them out. Well, there you go, guys. There is my video highlights from the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society's home show. I hope you guys had a tank that you really liked. Maybe you had trouble. I honestly, during the whole process, there were some that stood out to me that I didn't think would. And let me give you some examples. And while I do, we're going to have pictures. Sorry, this way. I still got to get used to that. I'm so bad at it. Up here, I'll have just some of my still frame shots of some of the other stuff. And this includes some of the tanks that I didn't get good video on. And that's usually because they were placed in an area where to move around the tank, I would hit a lot of glare and it'd be hard to see everything. But I got lucky on a couple like still frame shots of getting some stuff done. So those will be rolling through right now. And let me talk about some of the ones I liked. So like first off, Freckles, the Coral Catshark. Super cool. This is 2 years ago. We went to that gentleman's house, and we're actually going to do a small bonus video after this one that will include more Freckles. So watch for that. Promise. But he raised the shark from an egg, and I'll go into some like serious details about Freckles in the next video, but just trust me, you definitely want to see that. Super cool to see in 2 years she's gotten to that size. And he was showing us he had a tape layout at his place. He's about to move down to California, and Freckles is going with. And he's building a 600-gallon tank to be Freckles' permanent home. And this is a guy who has a marine biology degree. He's recently completed that. He's worked as an intern at a big aquarium here in the Seattle area. Super cool. I'll give you a lot more details in the next video. But so like some of the other cool highlights, a planted Oranda tank where the goldfish aren't eating the plants. They're so well fed that they let the plants stay. And it kind of reminded me, like the way that I like to describe it is the most unnatural, natural thing that I've seen in a while, where it's like, it looks kind of like a stream bed. You got that algae growing, but you've got some plants and just the way that the hardscape and stuff is designed. But then there's these big, beautiful Orandas. And it's something I'm like, that doesn't belong here, but it still looks really cool. Of course, there's that Blackwater like river biotope is really neat. It was a very fresh tank. He'd only had it set up for, I think, like 2 months. And he was just starting to add plants inside the tank itself. The goal at first was to do purely river, and then he decided there's some plants he hadn't played with before, mostly like crypts, that he was going to start delving into. He's a person who only has 2 tanks total, but you know he's very meticulous with his tanks. And then let's see, what else? What is it? Shellies and Guppies living together in a planted tank. I want to say that one more time. Shellies, Tanganyika and cichlids, who can be aggressive against non-Shellies, living in perfect harmony with Guppies. They weren't going high enough to bug the Guppies. The Guppies were staying up top. The Guppies were having babies. And the Shellies were showing like their territorial kind of like, this is my shell, come over here and let's make baby Shellies behavior right in front of my eyes. And I was talking to the owner of that tank, and I was like, hey, this is actually a really good sign. That means they're pretty healthy and happy. And I was like, are you buffering this? And he's like, oh yeah, there's a little crushed coral in there, but not a ton. It's not like the 9 pH or whatever that I think it's supposed to be. It's this. And it's like, huh. They're way more versatile than I would have thought. There's the tons of different like Buce and Anubias tanks. It was really cool to see how some people had very much like, this is my one tank in my house. This is the only tank I keep. I keep beginner plants, like nothing crazy. A whole mixture of community fish, like that discus tank that I show right off the bat where there's that big blue discus. There's another like kind of orange discus in there, but there's like roseline sharks, and there was like some anchor cat sharks in there. It was like every time you looked at that tank again, something else kind of poked its head out and you got to see something different. Then it went back into hiding. It was like a little surprise every time you were looking at the tank. It was super fun, super enjoyable. There's so many good tanks. There's lots of shrimp, lots of fish. One of the things that I noticed most commonly at the home show, although not all of them are on camera because a lot of these tanks were getting some good sunlight, which meant they're very hard to film, almost everyone had a Betta tank. And I kind of, like, as somebody who's got my one Betta back behind me, it's kind of sweet to see that everyone had a Betta tank. Except for, I think, one person, but he had a tank full of musk turtles that I didn't show just because it was like super cool. It's kind of like Corey's where there's your basking spot and it's otherwise a big open area to swim with musk turtles just kind of hanging out, doing their thing. Anywho, I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this kind of like dive into the some of the stuff that like my club does, things that I think are really neat. I really want to know what your favorite tanks are. Give me either your favorite or your top 3. I'd love to see your top 3 because then you're doing it kind of like the judges. Kind of a little, I guess you'd say, boost to that, just to kind of give you one more thing with the Freckles video that's going to come out. That'll be Wednesday. It'll be a little shorter. It won't be like a full video, but I didn't want to make this video too long, and also because of the topic in there, I felt it was more warranted to have its own separate video and be pulled kind of away from the home show content and all these lovely pictures that we've got going on, and the video of all the nicely planted tanks for the most part, except for Freckles, because Freckles is sweet. And finally, I guess I would just say is I just want to give kind of a thanks to all you guys. It's really interesting to see like from the side of this as a guest YouTuber. I mean, I definitely don't consider myself a YouTuber. I'm definitely still a hobbyist, but the number of people who watch videos and ask questions or leave comments, leave likes, leave dislikes. I really appreciate it. It's really awesome to have that kind of interaction, to kind of effectively make friends that are across the world, and I really value that. It was a lot of fun. About, was it 2 weeks ago, like doing a couple live streams with you guys and just hanging out, chatting, helping as much as I could, but otherwise just having a blast, just being social. I greatly appreciate that. And for some reason, if you're watching this and you're the bulk of actually my viewers, where you're like, I think 54% who are not subscribed. If you like my content, if you like seeing things about planet tanks, plants, rainbow fish, guppies, this is kind of like my sphere of expertise, definitely subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell so you can see all the notifications that come out. Check the community tab every so often. I put lots of polls up, and I let you guys control what content comes out. That's your opportunity to literally decide what happens on this channel. The ideas that come into my head of what I want to film, I let you guys determine what you'd like to see first and what I push kind of on the back burner while I get those things done. And then once I feel like I've really, I want to do it or the crowd asks for it, then those things come forward. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and stay awesome. Again? You're still here? I'm trying to edit this video, man. I can't get it done if you're still here. All right. I'll give you a preview of the Freckles video. There. Yeah. That's a shrimp on Freckles' head. Guys, you're going to have to watch the video to find out what happens next, huh? See you at AGA.